Hello, trust me well, welcome back to the channel. Today's episode is all about you one-to-one PTs. So if you're a one-to-one PT in a private gym, commercial gym, independent gym, whatever it is, this video is for you. This is your business course. You might have had some help in the past, might not have done very well for you, but this is going to be exactly what you need. Very short tactical videos. If you're an online coach, then you don't have to watch this one, you go and watch this one. Hopefully I've just popped it up on the screen if I remember to do that. So yeah, what do we cover in this quite long course? I say long, you can take it in stages. We're going to cover gym floor standards for personal trainers, personal trainer environment, your pricing and packaging, how to package up your services, personal trainer diary, how you can schedule your diary and prepare it in such a way that you are of course coaching your clients, but you're also growing the business, because you have to have a blend when you're personal training because you're tied down to time. You have to have your diary reflective of in the business work and working on the business work, okay? When a lot of personal trainers, they just get caught up with coaching their clients in person. When they're not doing that, they're eating, doing their own training, or updating plans and stuff like that, the more online aspect of it. So I was a personal trainer for 8 years, 7.5 years. Personal training in Pure Gym for that time, and then I had my own gym. So I've seen the commercial gym side of it. I've also got a ton of clients who are in independent gyms, all from David Lloyd, all the way to cheaper local gyms where they just rent a space and stuff. So we've got a big idea how to do this. Dean, as our head of product, has done all these trainings for you, so you're going to love it. I think some of them are 10 minutes long, 12 minutes long. So personal trainer diary, setting up your social media for success, personal training marketing do's and don'ts, how to build a personal trainer client community, personal trainer direct debit system, beating the online coaches, and then personal trainer sales process, and it finishes on how to win your postcode. Remember, you're a personal trainer in a postcode where there's only so many people who will come and train with you, so you need to win your postcode, right? So many coaches these days are acting like online coaches. Personal trainers are acting like online coaches. You just have to master a few basics to be fully booked one-to-one. You do not need a mentorship to get fully booked one-to-one. Trust me, right? When you start wanting to build small group program and go online and stuff, then you need some help from a proper agency like mine. But right now, if you're at 2K or whatever and you're paying for a mentorship, honestly, it's not that hard to find 15 people in your facility, in your postcode, to get fully booked. This is how you do it, okay? This full course. So enjoy, get a pen, notepad, press pause when you're taking action, you're taking notes, and remember, always take action. Enjoy.
Team, welcome back to the best practices for in-person coaching, and this video is all about talking about the personal trainer environment. So it's no secret, right, that the most common place for PTs to hang out is the staff room, right? It is what it is. But I want to tell you why this is the wrong decision for you and your business. Okay, now be warned, as a result of not hanging out in the staff room, you will be subject to talking behind your back, but your business will grow. That's a sacrifice I would take any day of the week. And the reason that I say that is when you stop kind of hanging about and fooling around and interacting with people who don't kind of share the same vision as you, naturally they're going to get pissed off and they are going to talk about you behind your back. Develop that thick skin and just get on with it, because if you can 2, 3, 4x your income, I'm pretty sure you will take that over some wannabe pretender that doesn't really care about growing their business. So here's why it's actually a bad idea to hang about in the staff room. Most PTs are time wasters, right? Let's be real here. How many PTs are actually interested in growing a proper business? They're not, right? They get into it because they're sold this false reality of you can earn, 30 grand a year working 20 hours a week, right? Something ridiculous like that. And they get so caught up on that concept that they don't actually realise what it's like to be a proper business owner. So they're time wasters, and you're not like that. We don't want you to be like that. So let's just kind of avoid hanging about with these people unless it's someone that is really, really driven. I'd stay clear from them. And not gonna lie, I've spent the the past decade being a coach, and I don't really have very many friends that are personal trainers, and yeah, I wouldn't say it's a bad thing. And I know Chris and Caitlin are the exact same. So yeah, the staff room becomes too loud and rowdy. When you need clarity or time to think, do you think this is the best place for it? Probably not. Clients obviously can piss you off. There can be certain things that are going on inside your personal life. There can just be lots of different factors. And when we need clarity, when we need just a place to think and to clear our minds, the staff room's just not the place to be. And I get that, it might be fun and you might have a laugh and stuff like that, but to what expense is it going to come at? Alright. You get dragged into gym politics. The fitness industry is such a bitchy place. It's one of the worst industries for bitchiness. And again, do you want to get dragged into that? Think about what that does for you. Think about what it does for your reputation. Think about what it does for your energy, like your mental well-being, if we want to go down that road as well. So it's, we just don't want to get dragged into gym politics. It's a very he said, she said, oh, if you saw this, if you saw that. And like I said, guys, right, like you probably will be subject to this bitchiness when you stop hanging about with other PTs. You just develop that thick skin, because it's far better to be talked about by people that are doing nothing than to be one of the ones that's actually sitting bitching and causing rumours and stirring up shit. Like, just think about how much of a bigger person it makes you look if you're out there grafting your arse off, you're putting in the work and the effort to grow your business, and people are wanting to talk about you. Cool. But if you're like procrastinating and getting dragged into all these other gym politics, and then you're starting to create a bit of a name for yourself as the person that's obviously involved in the bitchiness, it doesn't do you any favours. So something that I would highly recommend just avoiding. You end up lowering your standards to match that of your peers. Late to sessions because you're sitting in the staff room, you're joking around, you're having a bit of banter, and all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, it's 5 past, I better go out and get this client. Right? Tardiness, joking around. Like, is this the actions of a business owner? Just think about that. Okay. Now, yes, we have a very fun job, right? It's a very casual job, right? But it can be fun and casual, but it can still be professional. So I don't want you being, don't lower your standards. Because the thing is as well, like with these other coaches, is they'll probably tell you that, oh, you don't really need a mentor, and why would you hire this, and why would you do that, and like, oh, that's a stupid idea, and that's never going to work, and like, it's all just jealousy. That's all it is. So you don't want to be lowering your standards. You don't want to get dragged into the gym politics and becoming this bitchy person just because you're apparent friends who, let's face it, if you were to leave that gym, you probably wouldn't ever speak to ever again. And last but not least, it's not the place to work on your business. All of the above contribute to this point right here, right? Lowering your standard, dragging into gym politics, too loud and rowdy, and just time waster PTs, that is not the place that you want to be doing business, working on your business, anything like that. So let's look at, right, what is the best, or where is the best places to hang about? So obviously the gym floor, right? Why? Because it's where you're going to obviously pick up clients. The person who's on the gym floor more, the person that speaks to more people, the person that develops that relationship with other people is probably most likely going to be the busiest PT, right? Quicker you can fill your diary, the better results you get, the more money you earn, and the faster your business will grow. Coffee shops and home office, pretty much if you've got anything that needs working on and sitting down, like actually on the laptop, these are the places where I would recommend doing that. Wouldn't necessarily recommend doing it on the gym floor. That is purely for sessions and lead gen. Coffee shops and home office is where you want to be doing your in the business work, right? Not on the business, in the business, in the business work, where we are developing. Sorry, that's the other way around. On the business work, where we are developing our processes, our systems, our service, where like everything else is coming together. Basically, anywhere apart from the staff room. All right. And why do we want to hang out in these places instead? Really, really simple. So we can get shit done. That's it. We don't want to be procrastinating. We don't want to be distracted. We don't want to be dragged down by other PTs who probably just don't share the same vision, the same goal, the same motivation as what you do. So let's get out of that staff room. Let's stop hanging about there. And be well prepared, because it happens every time for that talking behind your back to start. Just ignore it, grow that thick like skin, but be prepared for your business to grow off the back of it, because you will be more productive, you will have more creativity, you will end up getting more shit done, and as a result, your income's going to grow. Out of thin air, alright? So the first thing that we need to realise is you're going to sell the result, not price per session. And the reason that I say that is when we start breaking all of this down, okay, like we charge per hour, okay, like, and I say that like in quotation marks because essentially we are still charging per hour. You need to trade your time for money, or you sell your time for money, okay? But there's ways that we obviously go about it, there's ways that we frame it to clients, and we have to make sure that we're actually charging our worth, which is something that a lot of coaches don't do. Now, when we start breaking this down, you'll realise that obviously we have to take into consideration check-ins, we have to consider training programs, monthly meetups, like constant WhatsApp back and forward. Like there's lots more that goes into this. So when it comes to actually pricing this, I want you to remember that it has to be something that reflects your value, okay? But when we're selling this to a client, we're not selling it to them as here's what the price per session is. We're selling them we're selling them on here's what the price per result is, okay? So at the end of the day, you're still selling time for money, so make it worth your while. Now, if we look at what the going rate is for like PT, right, it's typically £30 to £40 per hour. So you need to work out what your time and service is worth. So I've broke this down really simply. What's the highest amount you believe you can charge per hour? And what's the lowest amount you'd work for per hour? Okay, so and the reason that again that I say this is, yes, although we're not pricing this per session, but we're still, at the end of the day, we are still trading or selling time for money. So we may as well make this worth our while. So here I've got two examples. We've got £50 per hour is the highest I believe I can charge, and the lowest is £40 per hour. Now, these numbers might change, like you might charge 50 here and or 60 here and 50 here, you might charge 40 here and 30 here. Like, you have to work this out for you, but if you follow this framework, it will allow you to develop an actual pricing structure that works in your favour. So let's look at this one first of all. Highest amount we can charge per hour, £50. So I'm going to do 50 times 12. The reason for that is it's one session per week over the next 12 weeks, and that gives me £600 upfront. Perfect, that's your upfront payment for 12 weeks. Now say the person can't afford that, they want to do split payments. Here's how you work out the split payment option. Add 10 to 15% of the upfront cost, then divide it by 3, and that gives us £600 plus 10% gives us £660. Divide that by 3 gives us £220 per month. Really, really simple framework, okay? We do the same thing over here with the £40 per hour one. 40 times 36, the reason that we're times it by 36 is that's 3 sessions per week over the next 12 weeks. I don't personally think that you should be seeing anyone more than that, hence why I've kind of capped it at this. That gives us £1,440 upfront. Now again, some people might say that's far too much money, so if they want to do monthly payments, you add 10 to 15% onto this and divide it by 3. So 1440, add 10%, gives us 1584, divided by 3 is £528 per month. Now, how do you do 2 per week? Simple, you just meet in the middle. Okay, so obviously we've charged 50 here and 40 here, so nice easy in the middle is 45. Times that by 24 is 1080 up front. You want to do monthly payments for that, you can do 1080 plus 10%, gives us 1188. Divided by 3 gives us £396 per month. Really, really simple way to work out the pricing. Okay. Now there's a couple of wee tips and tricks or tactics that you can use on this. For instance, 220 to 396 is quite a big jump, right? So if I do 396 divided by 220, it's £176 of a jump. Okay, so sometimes people might think, well, why do I really need that? Now, I always think that 2 times a week is the sweet spot for most people who train with a coach. However, I also do like just training people once a week because I don't want to see some people 2 times a week. Right, I'll hold my hands up and I'll say it. So if I wanted to push more people onto this price point, right, or the 396, what I could do is I could overinflate this price a bit. Okay, so I could make this £300 per month, right, I could increase how much I charge up front. I could make this £300 per month. And then all of a sudden, it just seems as if they have to pay £96 to see me an extra 4 times that month. Now, or an extra 12 times in the next 12 weeks. So it's a really, really easy way to kind of work out your pricing. Now, if somebody wants to pay you £300 per month to see you once a week, fantastic, right? That works out at what, £60 odd a session? Something like that. Yeah, then absolutely fantastic. Alright, you can also do the same with this. You can put this number a wee bit higher so that this just seems really ridiculous, and they go, alright, okay, this one in the middle is actually quite good. Right? Now, that's one wee tactic. Okay. Another reason why we don't typically say like we price this per session and stuff like that and per hour is because if I look at this, right, this works out at £50 per hour, £600 up front. However, for the same person to pay monthly, this then works out at £55 per hour. Alright, so this is why we don't typically say that we price per session, we price per result. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense in regards to that. Now I want to do a bit of maths with you, right? And trust me, I'm not a big fan of maths, but I think this is really important because if you want to earn 4, 5, 6 or 7k plus, you need to understand the numbers that goes behind everything here. So I'll run through this very, very quickly. If I want to earn 4k per month, I would need 19 clients paying £220. That's 19 hours. That gives me £4,180. If I wanted to earn 4k a month doing 2 times per week, I need 11 clients paying me £396, which is 22 hours, gives me £4,356 per month. Or 8 clients paying £528, works out at 24 hours work, and that's £4,224. All for £4,000. Okay, so all perfectly doable, perfectly reasonable. Now obviously you can mix and match some of these don't all need to be like exact. You could do so many of them, and then so many of them. It's just to give you an idea. 5k, 23 hours of work, so 23 clients paying this price here, gives us 5,060. Or we could have 26 hours of work, which is 13 clients paying me this price point here, that gives us 5,148. Or I need 10 clients and 30 hours paying this price point here, which gives me 5,280. Again, still perfectly doable. Okay. 6k per month, right, is 28 clients, so 28 hours paying 220, gives us 6,160. 16 clients, which is 32 hours, giving me 6,336. Or 12 clients paying 528, which is 36 hours, giving me 6,336 as well. Again, still doable. 7k, and this is where we start to just notice where things obviously we hit a bottleneck. Okay, so 7k, I would need 32 clients paying me 220, which is 32 hours. Again, if we were just purely coaching, absolutely fine, but remember we've got a lot of things that goes in between the actual coaching hours, and that gives us £7,000. 18 clients paying 396 is 36 hours, 7,100, or 14 clients paying 528, 42 hours, and that's 7,392. So the bottleneck to all of this is obviously the higher the income we want to earn, the more money, the more hours we need to work, the more clients we need to take on. There's a lot of responsibility and stress, and this is where the breaking point of like one-to-one coaching can happen, because 32 hours plus, like I said, you've still got check-ins, you've still got communications, you've still got lots of things that go on in between. So just keep that part in mind. So last wee bit then I just want to touch on is mistakes we see coaches make. Right? They never do a price rise, so they typically keep their pricing at the same point for God knows how long. And it's only until they actually put their prices up that they go, oh, I wish I'd done that. So here's how you do, or here's a good way to know when to put your prices up. See if you get 10 sales on the same price, bump one of these prices up. So if your most popular package is 2 times a week and you've had 10 closes on this, then just bump it up. Even if it's only up by another 20, 30 quid per month. Alright? Only charging monthly is another mistake. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with giving an upfront payment. Right? And the good side or the flip side of this is if I go to you and I say this is how much it is, like for the training you go, oh, that's too expensive, then I've got that monthly option there. Right? So if I present the upfront payment. However, if you just go straight in with the monthly payment, sometimes people are like, well, I actually just can't afford that, and okay, well now I've got nowhere to move, I've got no wiggle room. Alright. The other thing as well is you get people to pay up front, it typically locks them in and it keeps them more in tune with their goals, so it works out better in that regards as well. And then last but not least is providing a session only service. So they turn up, they pay for, they literally just pay for that session and then they go away. Alright, now we've realised here that the bottlenecks obviously that can happen, so this is where we have to start thinking, well, maybe it might be time to transition to online coaching, maybe it might be time to transition to group coaching or a 2-to-1 model, whatever it is, because there's so many other things that can kind of take place. And again, with the providing a session only service, that's not check-ins, that's not nutritional help, that's nothing like that. So hopefully that gives you a bit of a framework to work off of, guys. Any questions, please feel free just to tag me in your campfire. And yeah, this should be really helpful when it comes to you obviously designing your price point for everything. Take care. Team, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be talking about the best practices for a one-to-one personal trainer just setting up their diary or their schedule. Now, quickly, this isn't set in stone, this is just like an idea to give you guys on how you can obviously go about doing yours. Obviously you want to tweak this, you can do it whatever way you want, but essentially the thought process behind this is I've based this off of 25 sessions. Now I'm going to do a bit on like people that are on rent, so they've just got that, and then a bit on people that are obviously shift workers as well, so that we can kind of get a general concept of how you can do this. The reason that I say 25 hours is because I think that's like a good amount of PT to be doing to not only like develop your skill set as a coach, so you're on the gym floor, but also to allow you to generate a decent income, but then to give you time out with that to go away and do things that obviously like grow the business. There's going to be a lot of working in the business, which is our clients, writing up programs, like doing check-ins and just general things like that. But then we have like things that are working on the business, so we need to look at, right, well, what is it that needs building? Like, do I need to build any funnels? Do I need to build a landing page? Do I need to constantly refine all of these? Not to mention we've got lead generation tactics, we've got sales to do, like DMs, social media, content creation, all of that. So we want to kind of make sure that we use the best time available. So let's get cracking into this, and like I said, it's going to be a bit interactive. Like, I'll drag and drop a few things as well so that you guys get a good understanding of what you could switch about. This isn't set in stone, change this, work it to your liking. This is just how I kind of like to do things, and yeah, we can tweak it as we go. So you'll see Monday, starting at 6 AM, a 6, 7, 8 client, and then I typically would recommend taking something like 9:30 to 10:30 off. Why? So that we can watch the coaches check-in, we can catch up on that, and we can obviously get the tactics or the best tactics moving forward from there. But this gives us this whole time here off where you could be, this is where you could be working in the business and on the business. You could be replying to your check-ins, you could be creating programs for clients, you could be messaging them, that could be where you do your content creation and stuff like that. So that would be that, and then we've just got 2 sessions in the evening. Right, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, finish for 7. Nice and easy. You could obviously take a session here at 4 if you really wanted to, if you wanted to get an earlier session. Same thing on Tuesday. A 6, 7 and 8 client, and then a 5 and a 6 client. Gives you this whole period here to obviously go and do things where we work on the business. Alright, but say come Wednesday you actually fancy a wee bit of a later, like a longer lie-in, so we might start at 7 and also only an hour. Sometimes we need that extra hour, so we do a 7, 8, 9 and 10 client. And you'll notice with this, guys, is I don't typically tend to do any more than 4 sessions back to back. And the reason for that is I believe personally by session 4 the quality starts to drop. You become tired, you get a bit sick up of dealing with people, you need to recharge. You might either be getting hungry, you might be just getting a wee bit like, oof, I can't really be bothered with this. So that's why I only say like 4 is the absolute maximum that I would be doing back to back. After that I'd be taking a break, at least an hour or 2 to go away, work on something else, eat, train myself, do whatever it is, and then I would come back to sessions. And again, a 5 and a 6, and then that's me finished up the road. Thursday, back to the normal, 6, 7 and 8, and then I've got a 5 and a 6. This allows me to take the full day off on Friday, And then if I want, I can work on a Saturday morning. I actually quite like working on a Saturday morning, hence why I've kind of shown you this example, because I just think that it gets you up, it gets you out of the house on the weekend. I finish by 12 and I've got the full day to go away and do something. I also like to go to the football on a Saturday, so normally if the football kicks off at 12, then I actually just take somebody at 11, and then, somebody at 7. I'll finish at 11, and then I can obviously just go about the rest of my day there. And it allows my Sunday off. So that's one way to do it. Now, again, we can look at it in this sense, and what I've scheduled here is somebody that likes to front load their week to give them a lot more time off, okay, at the end of the week. So, if we look at it here, Monday, again, 6, 7 and 8, I've taken this time off here to catch up on the check-in, or to be on the check-in. Then an 11, 12 and 1 client, so I finish by 2 hours off, which is where I could be doing anything from lead gen, sales, like working on the business, in the business. And then again, I've got a 4 o'clock this time and a 5 o'clock finish for 6. The reason I like an earlier finish on this is a long day. Right? 6, it's a 12-hour day, but 6 to 6, I wouldn't typically be taking anybody later than that. And again, you can see 3 sessions and then a big break. Come Tuesday, I can do 4 sessions in a row, 6, 7, 8, 9, take a big break off. And when I say big break off, guys, again, I'm stressing the point that this is where I'm working in and on the business. It's not an actual break. I'm not going home, sitting down with a cup of tea and just chilling and doing absolutely nothing. And then I've got a 4, 5 and 6 clients. So I finish for 7, up the road, dinner, etc. And then come Wednesday, same thing, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or finish by 10. And then I've got the full day off here to go and do like the stuff that needs to be done. Same again on Thursday, and then I've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday off to go and recharge. And the reason that I like this and having this time off here on Friday, Saturday and Sunday is because Monday's a heavy day. So I've actually, like I says, I've front loaded the week and I'm gradually tapering off as it comes to the weekend, getting myself prepared for a heavy week again. So there are 2 just examples. Now, how we can obviously tweak these, again, is completely down to you. If you wanted to start later, like you don't need to start at 7 o'clock. If you wanted to start at, you don't need to start at 6, you can start at 7. We could start and we could just move people there. You could essentially just do a full evening's worth, afternoon and evening's worth of clients. Depends on obviously the clients that you train, what their schedule's like, but you could have it set up like that so you've actually got the morning off to be productive, get shit done. Or we could take, let's just say we do a 6 and an 8. I don't really like having the odd person in here for this like lunchtime session. I just think this is a bit of a wasted gap. I would much rather be doing something productive rather than having like one person in for a lunchtime session. That again, that's just me. It's not to say that's the right way or that this is the wrong way. I just think it's a bit pointless getting into this flow of things here, going and doing 1 hour of PT and then coming out and then having another few hours to do flow things. I would rather keep everything all bunched up together. So that's that way. But say you just wanted the Saturday off, like you didn't want to work Saturday and Sunday, you could literally just move your clients across to here. And then we've got that sorted. Alright, pretty easy. Now, if, say for instance, I was on shifts and I wanted to structure my diary. Now, if we're doing 25 hours of coaching and I am charging a decent amount of money, there should be no reason that I'm on shifts, alright? However, sometimes things happen, we might need to save up for a bit, we might just want a wee bit extra security before we eventually like bite the bullet and go like fully on rent. I get that, build up savings, and then that gives us 6 month leeway, absolutely fine. But if I was doing this on shifts, then essentially what I would do is say my shift was, say I had a 6 a.m. Monday shift, right, here. So typically they're 4 hours long. So 6 hour Monday shift doesn't allow me to obviously make the coaches check-in live, so I would need to catch up on that. But what I could do is just structure so that I have 2 clients straight off the back of this. Why is that not letting me drag it? There we go. So I could just have client there, and then I could obviously go about the rest of my day here. Now, if I'm obviously working shifts, chances are I'm going to have a midday session. So it might be a 12 till 4. 12 till 4. So again, I could take clients in the morning, boom, and then I could have this time off here. I'm being productive, I'm doing the stuff that needs to be done, do my shifts, and then ideally if I could schedule in a 4 o'clock and a 5 o'clock, then I'm up the road for 6. Or if I have that hour off, that's where I train, that's where I do lead gen, that's where I'm on the gym floor, whatever it is. Okay. So sometimes shifts obviously work out at their 10 o'clock rather than 12. So we're obviously covering this period here. Again, this could all pretty much just stay the same. Give me my hour off, and then I could go in from there. If you really wanted to, if you're that type of person, you could essentially just do that. So you start at 10, you do everything here, but this is for the person that's good at getting up and getting stuff done, like in this time here. It's a lot more difficult to get up at 6 a.m. and work like specifically on the business than what it is taking clients at 6 a.m. Like, you need to be in the gym for 6, right? Otherwise you're going to lose out on money. But the thought process is, oh well, I don't need to get up at 6 to work on the business, I can find time throughout the week, and it just doesn't work. So that's why I wouldn't recommend that setup. And then typically you have a evening session, don't you? So let's just say here, don't want to get rid of clients. Let's drag this down. So it's normally what, 4 till 10? No, that's 6 hours. 4 till 8. God, that's terrible. I couldn't work that maths out. Boom, there we go. So 4 to 8, what does that prevent me doing? Well, I might need to actually just do something along the lines of this. Okay, where I have a couple hours off here, or I move these clients into another day. Boom, boom, I could do that there. I could move the clients down to here. I could move the clients up to here. I might need to actually work the Saturday just in order to facilitate and accommodate this. And this obviously all depends on what days you like have your shifts. It's very unlikely that you get a Monday early, a Tuesday mid, and then a Wednesday evening. Obviously that could be scattered. You might even get like a Friday evening or something like that. You might be on a weekend shift. So there's just a couple of ways on how I would obviously schedule this, guys. It's really, really important that the time of like these big gaps here that you see, these aren't just gaps where we're going and like we're faffing about and we're not doing anything. These are the gaps where we actually use things to go and grow the business. Like it says, it's whether we're building, whether it's we're brainstorming like our TCM, whether we are doing our lead generation, if that's on the gym floor, if it's on Instagram, creating social media content, all of these things. Like, just because we've got these big gaps doesn't mean that we take the time off. So that is how I would structure it. Again, you've got front loaded the week to tail off, or you can just have an actual set amount of hours that you work per day, and it still gives you the same time off. Hopefully that helps, guys. Any questions, please feel free to tag me in the campfire. Okay guys, let's look at how we can set your social media up for success. So your social media is the window to your shop. You want people to know what you do, who you help, and how they can find you. So here's what we need. A clear profile picture of you, not your logo. The reason that we say that is nobody knows what your logo means, right? Nobody understands who your logo is for. Like, you're not a big corporation like Nike, Gymshark, etc. So just make it nice and clear. It's a clear picture profile of you. Where you work, who you help, the results you get people, and a landing page or link. So a couple of wee examples here is we've got the gym group Annie's Land, helping the girls who can't be arsed do it anyways, strength running, Pilates and yoga, and then the link page there. Alistair's my Stronger Together small group, and although this is obviously a small group, it's still telling people what his program is, what it does, the results that he gets. He's also put in the gym group, where he works, etc. Just so happens all three of these people work for the gym group. Rubens, for instance, the gym group Edinburgh City, owner of RWR, Results with Ruben, the home of turning 25 to 40 year olds gymophobes into gym lovers, and then just his landing page there as well. So you can see here we've covered all these things: a clear profile picture, where you work, who you help, the results you get people, and the landing page. Nice and simple. That's all covered there. So if I scroll down here, top 3 pinned posts, because this is obviously going to be the first things that people scroll down and they see on your phone or on their phone. So again, who you are, client results / authority, where to find us, and what we do. So I've got a couple of wee examples here to show you, just so you get a good understanding. So obviously we'll use Chris's one here. So this first post here on Chris's Instagram was actually about like how we are becoming like an agency, not really a mentorship and stuff like that. So, and talking all about MRR. So it's what we do. Obviously, there's not going to be a where to find us on this. Who is Chris Bradley? So again, who are you? And then this one here, Authority, we got an Amazon bestseller. Alright, we look at Jordan Keynes. So he talks here about the progress project, I should say. So what it is, who he helps, what he does. Then he's obviously got client results, and then again he's talking about who is Jordan Kane. And then if we look at Nova, they've got their mission, so what it is that they do, who they help, where to find us, again a nice wee easy setup on that, and then results, what's the kind of results that they get their clients. So that is how you set your social media up for success. Make sure that we include these things here, and then obviously our top 3 pin posts, we do this. Nice and simple, guys. Okay guys, just a quick one then, and what we're looking for here is personal trainer marketing do's and don'ts. So we're going to start off with the don'ts first of all, and then I'll just go into the do's, and I'm going to give you a wee bit of context behind each and every one of these. So the first one is, don't just assume because you have PT in your name that people will buy from you. Now this is very, very common. A lot of coaches tend to think this, that just because you have personal trainer, PT, coach, whatever it is on your Instagram, that people will just automatically want to approach you and buy from you. Even in the gym, wearing a t-shirt or a branded hoodie or whatever it is that says personal trainer on the back does not guarantee that somebody will come up and talk to you and buy sessions, buy your service, take part in your program. So let's just not assume because we've got that in, that people will buy from us. Next one is, don't just put up a poster in the gym thinking that will attract attention. And I've made this mistake many a time. I know a lot of coaches have. Like, if you're not actively speaking to people on the gym floor, if your face isn't known, if you're not the authority in the gym, putting up a poster and just leaving there, try to attract a service, is not going to get you any clients. You have to be actively promoting this. Don't try and promote 3 different services. So there's no point trying to promote one-to-one, small group, and online. How we recommend doing this is fill out your one-to-one diary first and foremost, get that like completely full, and then from there we can start looking at expanding into either online or we can expand into small group training. Don't try and fill all 3, because if you do, you're probably going to lose focus. Your messaging and your marketing is going to be all over the place. People won't actually know what you provide and what service it is you offer. So let's just focus on keeping one of them. Don't post on social media anything client business related thinking it will generate leads. For example, all client check-ins will be replied to shortly is not marketing. Anything that is the inner works of your business that you communicate with clients should not be going on your social media. Telling people about late coming fees and payments have to be updated on time, or check-ins, all of that, that's your own business to deal with. That is not marketing, and if anything, it actually just showcases that you have more of a fragile business, that you don't know how to keep on top of it, so it's actually worse off for you. Then, don't look unapproachable on the gym floor. Like, remember, your marketing is you like walking about, like how you present yourself, how you hold yourself in sessions, or whether you're doing classes or on shift. That is your essential marketing. So if you look unapproachable on the gym floor, then people just won't come up to you. They won't want to take like part in your program. So let's make sure that we always have a big smile on our face. We are saying hello to people and we just look friendly. Don't think that because you're in person, posting social media content doesn't matter. Again, another one which is very, very common for coaches. And I get that, yes, you probably can fill your diary. Not probably, in fact, you can definitely fill your diary just from speaking to people on the gym floor, 100%. I've done it multiple times. However, when you do want to pivot into a different service, whether it's small group or online, you are going to need some form of social media content. So it's better to start now and have something building up. It's also where you can showcase your results than just doing it like fresh when you want to start launching a new program. Another one is don't abuse 5130 posts. So if you don't know what a 5130 is, it's I'm looking for 5 people to take part in this challenge over the next 30 days. We will get you this result. These are fantastic money making posts. However, the constant uploading of them and have a new space available and have this slot opened up and just always promoting that you've got slots open, just makes it look as if you are not busy, and if it looks as if you're not busy, then people will probably be wondering what's actually going on in your service. It's not to say that you can't ever post these things. However, if you are abusing it and posting it on a regular basis, I have space for, people are just going to start thinking this person's not very good. There's a reason why they're not full. And then last but not least is don't badmouth other businesses, especially if you can't back up yourself. The fitness industry is a very, very bitchy industry, and I know a lot of the time people like to take to social media to vent their frustrations and stuff, but there should be no reason why you're going on and slating other businesses and saying how you're so much better and like this person done this, and like just airing out people's dirty laundry on social media. That doesn't attract clients, it just makes you look better, if anything else. So there's a fine line, because one of the do's that we talk about, and I'll show you in a minute, is throwing rocks at your competitors. There is a fine line between how to do this, but we don't want to be bad-mouthing other businesses. That's a big difference. So let's look at the do's. So do's is talk about how good your service is and the results clients are getting. It's 100% so important. Remember from the last video, like setting up your social media for success, is your social media is your shop front. So if people don't know what it is that you do and how like the results that you promote, then you're essentially keeping the shutters down. So talk about how good the service is, talk about the results that clients are getting, how amazing the community is, what's happening inside the service, all of these things, which is just going to help promote your business more. Another one is approach different local businesses and collaborate with them. So there's nothing wrong with jumping into your local, I don't know, beauty salons, or you could potentially jump into like offices that are close by and just kind of offer something for free. There's an argument that you could obviously leave some flyers and stuff like that, but again, without really any context and without any authority, are people going to take up that offer? So look at getting into workplaces, doing a talk, hosting like a half-hour workout or something like that, and just market yourself and your services in that way. This one here, throw rocks at other services, so small group PT and online, but don't throw shade at competitors. So what I mean by this is talk about how much better one-to-one training is over small group or online. Talk about why it's having that personal relationship is far better, how you can improve people's form, how you get to understand them on a deeper connection. Like, these are the things that we talk about and how small group and online doesn't do it, but we're not throwing shades at competitors by saying that it's shit and how you shouldn't go and do this and how this is the worst thing for your money, it's just a waste of money and it's all money grabbing and all of this, or actually talking about a specific person in general. Another do is have a where to find me, what to do, who we help section on our social media. So again, from the last video, if you look at the setting up your social media for success, is if you're working in person, people need to know, okay, where are you? Like, what gym is it you work from? Like, what is it you do? Most people's perception of a personal trainer is they give them a workout program, they get them to run on a treadmill or do burpees, and they help them a wee bit with nutrition. Now, your service is completely different from that, so we need to elaborate and expand upon that and let people know what it is that we actually do, and then who do we help, especially if we have like a really dialed in niche, then that needs to be showcased all over our social media. And the next one speaks for itself, showcase client results. So how you do this is obviously entirely down to you, before and afters, testimonials, like result-based pictures of somebody lifting a heavier weight, running a marathon, whatever it is, but this is your bread and butter. Next, we have showcase you in the gym and out of the gym, but make it clear it's a one-to-one service. So a lot of the time people, when they run a one-to-one service, they essentially post on social media and you can't really tell if they work in a gym or if they are just somebody that kind of hangs about a gym and trains people just in general. So if there's nothing about you training clients, if there's nothing about you like working with people, if there's nothing about you in the gym, then it doesn't create a lot of trust and credibility. So we want to have something that shows you actually with the client, showcasing you, I don't know, actually coaching, for instance, so that people know that this is an in-person service. Alright. The next one is wear branded clothing or gym uniform. Branded clothing speaks for itself. However, the problem with this is not a lot of people know what your brand is. So yes, I get the argument of having like coach or personal trainer on the back, okay, so that you stand out a wee bit. But if you're in a busy gym, like your typical colours will probably just blend into the rest of the gym. If you actually wear the gym's uniform, which I know a lot of people are kind of against, but most people will recognise that uniform because they obviously see more staff wearing it, then you're far more likely to stand out. And it just means that people can help identify you a wee bit better. Now you tie that in with being approachable, and you'll probably get more people come up and talk to you. And then last but not least is treat Instagram DMs the same way you treat relationship building on the gym floor. So a lot of the time people get really annoyed with Instagram because they send a message and they get patched, or they try to get people to book in a call, and sometimes it's just too fast. Whereas if you think about the way that you communicate with people on the gym floor, sometimes you might just say hello, how you doing, and just building up a wee bit of relationship there. The next time they come in, you speak to them a wee bit more, build up a bit more relationship, and you're just constantly moving this person like along this pipeline from cold to warm. In the DMs, it's kind of the same thing. React to their stories, thank you for following me, just wee simple things like that. But don't be going straight into trying to sell. You need to build up like the know, the like, the trust in order for somebody to obviously want to book in either a call with you, book in a consultation, and then just take things from there. Now, there probably is a lot more do's and don'ts on marketing, like online and offline for your business, guys, but I think that's a pretty good place to start. And as always, if you have any questions, then please just tag me in the campfire. Okay team, welcome to Building a Personal Trainer Community. Now, building a community for your PT business will always be such an important pillar inside your program. It's fundamental, I would say, for a lot of reasons, and I'm going to delve into them and why you need one, obviously, like as you can see here. But see, just purely for like your sanity and client sanity as well, there's nothing worse than having a system where it's just like one in, one out, and people don't really know each other. So you've just finished up with a PT session and you're literally just about to go into your next one, and you finished up with Dave and you're waiting on Sandra, and it's like Dave just walked straight past Sandra, and you're just like, yeah, it just creates a bit of a divide. So we want to obviously have this friendly atmosphere. We want people to all kind of know each other. And don't get me wrong, people don't obviously need to always like each other. Like I'm not saying and forcing that upon anyone, but it does serve a massive purpose on why we obviously need one. So if we look at this now, like fitness journeys are very lonely for people. Let's face it, most of your clients probably are surrounded by workers or family or friends that don't just quite get it. It's as simple as that. They want to almost kind of bring their efforts down. Why you in the gym so much? Why do you go see this personal trainer? Oh, you won't be able to eat that because you're on a diet and stuff. And that can have a negative impact obviously on the person. If you have a like-minded group of people that are all kind of working towards the same goal and are striving for like betterness of themselves, then it's just going to allow that client to feel a wee bit more in tune and wanting to actually go ahead and stick with their fitness routine. So it's massive in regards to that because it removes the loneliness from the training, the nutrition, the whole lifestyle thing, and it just allows people to seek a wee bit of comfort, and obviously knowing that there is other people that probably are feeling very similar to them, have the same struggles, and are striving for the same goals. A very important reason. It can help leverage your business. So especially working as a one-to-one coach, like taking holidays can be an absolute nightmare. It can be something that like a lot of coaches dread. Whereas if you have like a good solid community, they can kind of take care of your business themselves, like everybody else, while you're away enjoying yourself. And that's a sign of a really powerful community when you can rely upon them to either answer questions or to help motivate people or just to give general guidance on anything fitness related. Doesn't need to be super fancy. It just allows you to enjoy yourself and know that okay, like the business has been taken care of while I'm away just enjoying myself for a few days. It's a great tool to increase retention and results. So again, this goes back to if it's lonely people or the fitness journey being lonely for people, it just allows like people to kind of share their thoughts and their feelings as to when things aren't going their way. That really helps improve results because they can be like, well, do you know what, I'm not the only person that's feeling this way, and somebody that was feeling a particular way could have says 3 months ago, this is how I overcame this certain objection or barrier as such. So it allows you to kind of increase the results in that manner. There's going to be multiple people that probably walk different paths of life that are able to give their insight and their advice on how they overcame things. Also, sometimes clients are a wee bit more relatable to each other than what the actual coach is, so it creates a result driven community in that regard. And also for retention's sake, is if we think about all the things that we can do, how we can put on client events, how we create this community that's close knitted. Like, you look at places like Slimming World and Weight Watchers and stuff like that, they have such a great community because people go, they become friends, and they don't essentially want to leave. Now, a caveat to this is we don't want to use the community to mask our actual coaching, and this is something that we see a lot of coaches do, where they essentially put so much emphasis on the community aspect and like putting on lots of events and doing like nights out and photo shoots and stuff like that, they're actually just masking their ability to coach. They go all in on community, and if there is a slight tweak in that, then things tend to go wrong. So it's not ideal to put all your eggs in one basket, let's just say that. And we want to still harness and develop our coaching skill set, obviously harness and develop our community along with everything else. It can be a great selling tool because a lot of the time people, again, we reference back to it being a lonely journey, and it's like, well, if you're sitting having a consultation with someone, you can tell them about like the community that you've created. Like, a lot of yous that came onto this have probably been at an event beforehand, and you've saw the way that the whole host of everybody works together, and you're like, I want to be part of that. Allowing people to kind of cheer you on and spur you on, and again, being surrounded by like-minded individuals is going to be fantastic for selling. So it's definitely something that every personal training business should have as one of their pillars inside their program. Now, how do we create one? So just having a WhatsApp group, Facebook group or school group isn't creating a community. You've literally just lumped people into like one particular place, and so that's not an actual community. What you need to do is find common ground. So remember, like, this is for you and for them. If you are going to just create this group and this community for people to essentially just give announcements and maybe tell people off, then you're never really going to get much back. All right. Also, on the flip side, if you create this community or group for people just to moan and vent about things, that's just going to create a negative connotation, and that's not what your coaching business is about. So you have to find common ground. We need to water this community daily, especially. It's a lot of work at the start. You're going to be doing lots of trial and testing, finding out like what responds well in the group, what doesn't respond well in the group, what are people engaging with, what they're not engaging with. Like, and it's obviously like you're going to take a bit of feedback, but you don't let the clients dictate how the service run. Remember, we always want you to be in the driver's seat. We don't want to start moving into the passenger seat, the back seat, or even the boot. So we have to water this daily. We have to be the one that's sparking the conversations, creating interesting topics of conversations, and genuinely just going replying to people and just, like I says, creating that nice flow. Set the expectations in the onboarding process, rules and regulations. And what I mean by this is tell people, look, if you have any questions, then we ask it in this community group. This is where we announce things. This is where we have general chat about certain fitness journeys and stuff. However, this place is not somewhere for you to bitch and moan. It's not a place for you to slate or slander anybody. It's not a place where we badmouth and talk about other clients or other coaches or like other business owners or our partners or whatever it is. There has to be rules and regulations within this that people follow and obviously abide by. Do regular meetups so clients can actually meet each other. There's nothing worse, again, than just everybody being a name or a number on WhatsApp. We want them to actually be able to put a face to the name. So by hosting, I don't know, like a monthly workout, a coffee date, a dog walk, like whatever it is, then it just allows these people to obviously meet each other, and then hopefully they can start to bond over more. And the more that they do that, the more likely they are to be more engaged inside the actual community group. And then lastly is encourage clients to meet up out with sessions. So the whole point of having a community is, well, if somebody is not feeling motivated, if somebody's struggling with something and they're just not getting to the gym, then they've got 10, 20, 30 other people that they can call upon to basically be like, I need a training partner for tonight, who's in? And if you can get that, that's a really, really powerful sign of a strong community. So last wee bit to touch on hosting client events is make it fun for both you and the client. So don't be putting on things that just serves you. Obviously there is an element of that, but don't be surprised if the numbers aren't great, if it just purely serves you. And what I mean by that is certain things like clients obviously need to know certain things and they need to have an understanding, but if you were to have a nutrition seminar or you were to have a booty building masterclass, what one would be more popular? Okay, now you know that the clients need to understand and develop their knowledge on nutrition and how to be better with it, but at the same time you also go, well, do you know what, like clients also just want to train hard and lift heavy, or they want to build a bigger butt. So it's just finding that balance. Okay, try something different. So like a lot of common things obviously are photo shoots. You've got things like tree climb adventures like Go Ape, there's like bowling, there's client nights out, but also just think about like what could we do that's a wee bit different as well, something that we can use this to internally market and externally market. And that brings me to the next point, which is internally market it like mad. Just constantly talk about it, big it up, tell clients how great it is, tell them how great the last thing was, get them to talk about it, and then from there you can start obviously sharing it on your socials, and that just helps create a bit of FOMO because people then start seeing, oh my god, this is so much more than just a personal trainer that stands with a clipboard or an iPad and fucking shouts at people on a treadmill and tells them to do 1,000 burpees. Like, it gives you so much more. And then lastly on this is don't get pissed off if the numbers aren't that great the first time round. A lot of the time people do get disheartened because they think, oh, I'm going to do this, it's going to be amazing, I'm going to get every client to sign up. Remember, some clients are busy and they might not obviously see and understand the benefit of having like this event and why it's so important and how they're obviously going to benefit from them. So this is where the internal marketing comes back into play. But don't get pissed off if the numbers are low. Don't let that like kind of deter you from obviously continuing doing it. Like, we just keep building it up and then maybe we take some feedback as to why people didn't turn up and then we go from there. So hopefully that helps, guys. Any questions, as always, please just pop it in your campfire. Okay guys, so this is all about the PT direct debit system. Now I know this is something a lot of coaches struggle with, is how do I take holidays and still get paid? I've just given you my direct from my terms and conditions, like how I set up my direct debit, so that you can obviously just go copy this and put it into your own terms and conditions. Now I've never had an issue with this in the past at all. Clients follow this, they sign it, they tick it, and they understand that this is the way that it works. So I've included a couple of things in here just in which I think are really important for obviously you to have and for clients to know and understand. So the first one here is holiday sessions. So how obviously do you get paid while being on holiday? So sessions are based off of 48 weeks rather than 52 weeks. This allows for 4 weeks free to allow time off for yourself and the coaches, which basically means that they do not get to bank sessions. Alright? You will also not be charged additional for 5-week months. So there is obviously some months throughout the year where clients actually get an extra 1 or 2 sessions, and this obviously like accumulates throughout that whole process of the year. Letting them know that, look, we base everything off of 48 weeks rather than 52. If you want, I can charge you in 52 weeks, but you're going to end up paying a lot more money. So that's why we structure it from this. And we let them know, like, there's some weeks that, or some months that you actually get an extra session. I don't charge you for that. So to allow for that, then this allows us 4 weeks free for 2 weeks for me and 2 weeks for you. Okay? Holiday sessions, if the client is within a 6-month period of joining STS, refer to section 3.1 and 3.2. Just make sure you obviously change this bit here. I'll just bold and underline it. And yeah, so holiday sessions for client perspective. During periods of clients' holidays, missed sessions will be made up before or after the holiday period. Payment for sessions will not be paused. This ensures consistent progress towards your fitness goals. So again, this is only if they're within a 6-month period, purely because they might not stay for us for 48 weeks. So we don't want the client to feel as if they're actually going to get done out of money and sessions. Alright, so as soon as they pass that 6-week mark, that 6-month mark, this part of the policy kicks in. And then it's the exact same thing for the coach perspective. In the event your coach goes on holiday, missed sessions will be rescheduled. Payment will not be paused, guaranteeing the continuity of your training regime. Nice and simple. So I've included a couple of other things in here which I do think are very beneficial. Transition to monthly subscription. After the initial 90-day buy-in period, clients will transition to a monthly subscription for continued access to our services. Should a client wish to discontinue their participation in the programme, then they must provide the coach with 30 days notice prior to their desired cancellation date. Okay, nice and simple. That's just letting people know that, yep, you will be charged as soon as your first 90 days are finished, and then if you want to stay on, then we need a 30-day cancellation notice. Unused session expiry. Unused personal training sessions are subject to a 2-month expiration period. Any sessions not utilised within this time frame will not be carried over to subsequent periods. We encourage consistent engagement to optimise your fitness progress. The reason that I have this is just say, for instance, a client has went on holiday and you're trying to obviously book them back in, they're just being really awkward. Like, you could cut this down to 1 month as well. And it's like, right, okay, we've actually passed this point now where I can no longer afford to give you that session. Or, for instance, if a client had to pause and go away for a month, then they have to use it within 2 months of that. The last wee bit here, payment policy, payment deadline. Clients are required to make timely payments. In the event of non-payments, clients will be granted a 3-day grace period. Failure to make payment with this period will result in further action. That further action is removal from the programme. If payment is not received after the initial 3-day grace period, clients will be promptly removed from the programme and you will not be getting back in. And last but not least, direct debit cancellation. Clients are prohibited from unilaterally cancelling their direct debit without prior confirmation from their coach. Immediate removal from the service will be enforced in the case of unauthorised direct debit cancellations, and clients will not be allowed to rejoin the programme. And it's as simple as that. So you'll obviously have your own copy of this, and again, tweak this to whatever way you like, but this is just a really good, easy way to obviously go about and structure your direct debit system. Okay guys, welcome to Beating the Online Coaches. Now, I want to just start this video off by saying, if I was an online coach, I would be arguing every single point against this. So this video is all about being in favour of in-person coaching. However, if I was an online coach, I would be looking at this and I'd be arguing every single point against it, right? So I want you to obviously get that part like in your head. It's not to say that one is necessarily better than the other, but today I'm putting my in-person hat on and I am literally just focusing on all the benefits on that. So a good way to kind of preface this as well is the perfect blend of PT is teaching clients everything that you know that they need to know so they never need you but never want to leave you. And what I mean by this is we want to get clients to that point of autonomy where they don't actually need you to break down their form. They don't need you to like oversee their sessions. They can come in and do their training, do their sessions like without you actually being there. However, you're so good at your job, you have built up such a client-centered like focus that they don't ever want to leave. They really, really enjoy working with you. And I think that's the perfect blend in which you can get. You've created autonomy. Clients can obviously go in and do their workouts, but they still love working with you. So let's look at what do PTs have over online coaches. So the first one, it's the most obvious thing, is the advantage of seeing the person face to face. Okay, you don't really get much more simpler than that. And this comes with a whole host of benefits like alongside that. You tend to find that they have a better form of communication. Now, obviously, the more that you speak to somebody face to face, like it's easier to read body language, it's easier to read tone, it's easier to extract information out of them. People tend to open up a lot more. So the communication aspect tends to be a lot better when it comes to in-person coaching than what it does with online coaching. Their training quality is going to be better. Let's face it. People will always work harder when they are faced with somebody telling them what to do, showing them what to do, and teaching them exactly how to do it. You also tend to find that they have a better community because they're working with so many people face to face and like one to one. So people are obviously going to be walking past each other. They're going to be in the gym seeing each other. Like they'll get to know each other. They're all operating out of the same area. So again, like that community aspect should actually be a lot better, a lot closer knitted than what an online coach's community should be. And again, guys, if I was an online coach, I'd be arguing every one of these points or against every one of these points. So I'm just putting my PT hat on today, alright? Better chance of selling the service. This one is probably one of the ones that you can't really argue against. It's a lot easier to sell the service of in person, and yeah, you get to see me, we get to work together closely, we get to actually develop this working relationship in person rather than over a phone, computer screen, etc. So selling the service is a lot easier. You have got a major advantage over people when it comes to the online coaching space. The only difference is you can charge a lot more when it comes to in person, and that now just becomes a wee bit trickier because that all comes down to how well you can actually sell. But if you think about it, you shouldn't be charging any less than an online coach. You should be charging more because that person gets more of you. You develop a better working relationship, obviously. Again, this kind of ties into the better form of communication. It's also easier to structure your days. You know that you've got to be up at 6 for a client, a 7, an 8, a 9, like whatever. If you look back at how to structure your PT diary, like your days are obviously going to be focused around the client, so it makes things a lot easier for you. Online coaches tend to have to schedule out their day completely different. It can sometimes be a lot harder to get up and have that drive when they know they don't necessarily need to be somewhere. They can literally operate from home, so they can be a wee bit more lackadaisical in that. And that's not to say all coaches do that, but you tend to find that one-to-one face-to-face coaches are a lot better at actually structuring like their days. Don't get me wrong, you could have long days where you're like back to back with coaching, but at least there is some form of structure to it. You can rely on multiple ways to generate leads, and that's going to be covered in one of the other videos, but there is so many ways to generate leads when you are an in-person coach. It's ridiculous. And then last but not least, clients get faster results. Now again, other coaches might argue against this, but I just believe that if the training quality is better, you are there to kind of speak to them and develop that better form of communication, then that client is they're going to get better results. They're going to get faster results. That at least they should do. However, you will get some online coaches that have just got a really, really good system put in place, which will actually allow them to get better results than what some PTs actually get. So let's look at what do online coaches have over PTs. So essentially they've got more time. Now with more time, like this is where the structure kind of comes in. Like they have to figure out ways. They can't just fill their days with shit. They need to actually like do a lot of work. So although it comes across like they have more time and more freedom, literally I know some coaches that are glued to their desk and people perceive this, oh, I have more time, when they actually really don't. But they do have more time to work on certain things, right? They're not glued to sessions, they're not glued to like one specific place. They can develop more things, which we will talk about. They have the potential to work with an unlimited amount of clients. Unfortunately, like you only have so many hours in the day. There's so you can only take on so many sessions. And again, if you refer back to the last training that we done on filling your diary or how to structure your PT diary, I personally don't think you should be doing any more than 4 sessions back to back, because the quality of the session then starts to dip. Online coaches don't have that problem. They also tend to develop a new skill set of coaching. It's a lot harder to coach somebody like via text and voice notes and videos, and you need to be able to read between the lines more. You tend to actually become a bit of a better coach when you can do it online, because you can't just see this person and essentially build that relationship. So they do tend to develop this new skill set. Again, the more freedom this is, like they've got the freedom to work wherever they want. They don't necessarily need to work from a gym. Well, they don't. They can work from their house, they can work abroad, they can work from a coffee shop, so they have that freedom. They can scale the business more. And again, this ties in very nicely with the potential to work with an unlimited amount of clients, because there is obviously only so many hours in the day, but they don't have that barrier that they need to overcome with seeing each person individually. You also find that they have better systems. Their systems are more leveraged to suit them, to give them more time, because they will go and focus on that, and they need things to obviously like help with the business out with the actual coaching element. So online coaches tend to have a lot better systems. They also tend to be better at holding clients accountable, because if they're not good and they're not on it and they're not keeping their clients accountable, it's very easy for people to drop an online coach than what it is an in-person coach. So you do find that they actually, and this is where the skill set of coaching comes in, they tend to develop this talent of holding clients accountable. And there's more pressure. Now this can be a good or a bad thing. The good part of it is some people, like, they thrive on that, and they know, well, I have to do my social media, I have, because without that I'm not going to grow. Like they don't have the luxury of walking the gym floor and picking up a lead. So they have that pressure of they need to be on it with their social media, they need to be on it with their clients, they need to be doing their check-ins, they need to be making sure people's programs are up to date. And again, I says this is a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing because some people fall into that trap of, oh, their back's against the wall and they absolutely crumble. So that's what online coaches have over PTs, and that's obviously what PTs have over online coaches. Now, in order to beat them, I think we need to take what they have over PTs and turn them into our strengths. And some of them aren't going to be applicable. That's fine, right? For instance, working with an unlimited amount of clients. You're not going to be able to do that unless you start hiring people, like obviously to work with. You open up your own gym and stuff like that, and yeah, like you could potentially have a far bigger client base, but the reality is that's a lot harder to do. However, we can still work on developing our skill set of coaching. We can obviously hold clients accountable. We can have the systems that online coaching has. Like if we look at the way that we operate our CRM, the way that we operate onboarding, like we can have all of these things put in place, which still allows us to obviously grow. The more time and freedom, unfortunately, that is something that we might not be able to do. However, the pressure as well, like we should have a lot more, or we do have pressure on us if we are renting, because that's an expense, right, from our gym, or we want to get off shifts, like, so we can use this pressure to our advantage. So when it comes to obviously beating the online coaches, we have to remember that yes, they're going to have some benefits. There's pros and cons to both of them, okay? But with that being said, all of these things that we have here, I would be like doubling down on all of these, and then the things that the online coaches have where we can, I'd be looking at, okay, well, how can I improve upon that so I'm now getting the best of both worlds? I'm taking what the online coaches have really, really well, and I'm implementing it into my PT so that I can sell that you get to see me in person, I get to fix your form for you, I'll develop your confidence in the gym, but I'll also grant you that autonomy where you'll be able to come in the gym and not actually need me. And that's why I says at the very top, the perfect blend is teaching clients everything that you know, that they need to know, so they never need you, but they never want to leave you. Okay guys, welcome to the one-to-one coaching sales process. Now this is a very, very important training because this could be the difference between you getting that client booked in and converting them versus them slipping through your fingers. Now there's no question that selling one-to-one is a lot easier than selling online. However, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't have an actual sales process put in place. And I've got here two different options, okay? So you see option one is all about building authority, which is just going to give you that wee bit extra leverage over the other coaches, the other PTs in your gym and your area. But then option two is standing out from the crowd. And I'm going to give a wee bit more context to both of these and just give some explanation as to why we would need this, or if it's just an extra benefit to have it. Okay, so we'll dive into this, and yeah, it's going to be a bit meaty, so please obviously stay with me. So you've obviously got somebody reach out to you. Excuse me, sorry. You've got somebody that's reached out to you. They are interested in one-to-one coaching, and you're just going back and forward. Now, I personally, I don't like the I'm just going to book you in, here does X time suit you to come and book you in. I don't like that option, right? I just think that could be where the people tend to ghost you the most, okay? Because you've not really built a lot of trust. And don't get me wrong, there's more element of trust being built from one-to-one, because the chances are you probably know the person because you've spoke to them in the gym, or they know of you. I totally get and understand that, but it's 2024 now. We want to just, especially if we want to charge a premium rate, we want to do things a wee bit better, okay? So they've reached out, they've inquired, and now it's all about just booking them in. Couple of different ways that we could do this here. The first one is we could just send them to a landing page, right? So, hey, I'm looking for these fitness goals, I want to improve X, Y, and Z. Cool, perfect. So thank you for reaching out. We have a wee bit back and forward. The best thing to do is to actually get you in for a chat. Right? So you can either do a chat or you can do a phone call. It's entirely down to you. Again, I like the idea of actually just getting in and sitting down with the person face to face. However, if that doesn't permit, then we can obviously do it over the phone, Zoom, etc. But we could send them the main landing page, and they can just obviously go and get a bit of a idea of the kind of stuff that we do. So like here's the upgraded coach one, and obviously this is very, very professional, like it's been done, there's been a lot of time spent on it, but a nice professional video explaining what we're all about, everything like that. You could have something very similar for yourself. This one obviously iterates, it's not a sales call, and I think that's something that's very important. Right now, people probably don't know that they're going to be sold to, or they think that if they're coming in for a consultation, they're either going to think, right, this person's going to be a sleazy salesman, or they're just coming in for a chat. So prefacing it as, look, this isn't actually just a sales, this is just getting to know you a wee bit better, and if things work out, then we can obviously look at getting you started. Right? So we've got a wee bit of social proof here, right? Like we've had 150 trainers, this is how much money they've gathered and stuff like that. So you see, this is a very, very good landing page, right? This is selling business to business. We're obviously selling business to consumer, where we don't need as much social proof and as much into this. Like people are more skeptical when it's their business. When it's consumer, we can kind of get away with, like, and I use that term getting away with right lightly, but we don't need as much evidence stacked. Okay, it's not to say that we shouldn't do it, we just don't need as much. But you'll see here we've got a proven strategy, we've got some results, we tell them what the different programs are, and we've even got a guarantee, right? So really, really good, important to have, and then some testimonials and stuff like that there. Okay, so that's like the first kind of way that you could do it. Direct them to a landing page and then join a waiting list. They click on this and somebody obviously will be in touch. Takes them to this next step. They've got an application process and stuff. Doesn't necessarily need to be like that. You could have that button. If I just click on this again, you could have that button take them to your calendar link as well. Alright, so option 1, landing page. Option 2 could literally just be to book them in through like your system's calendar, right? Now obviously you can use Calendly as well, right? But you'll see here, like, if somebody's contacted me, I'll obviously have a wee bit of back and forward. Cool. The best thing to do is actually to schedule in a time for us to have a chat. So they'll go into this, they'll select their time to obviously come here, and now you can have like the location. So whether it's on Zoom or whether it's a phone call or whether it's in your actual gym, you can have that here as well. All right. And then all it is just a bit of pre-qual questions. So we're just looking for, in the next 12 months, what would you like to achieve? What's your biggest problems you're facing? During our chat, if you decide that this program's right for you, like, do you have the budget to invest? Okay, so we're just pre-qualifying the person. So we could, right, have the landing page with this button here taking us straight to this section, or we could just skip out this section and have this here. Right? You can play around with it, you can decide what works best for you. This is just that extra wee bit of authority, right? Because I can guarantee you most coaches won't have any of this. The downside to this, okay, and this is what I mean, like there's pros and cons. The downside to this is it's an extra step for someone to jump through. Although they're only clicking on one page and then clicking on a button, sometimes it could just be easier. See if the client's red hot, like, and I mean red hot, you could literally just send them this. Cool, why don't you just book in from there? And then what I think is really important to have is this thank you page. Okay, now the thank you page will show you is thanks for booking your call or your chat, whatever you obviously, how you do things. We are looking forward to seeing you. And then it's just a wee bit of explaining again how the service works, what it is that we do, and just giving people a better insight and an idea into how our actual program all comes together. Right? Again, this is very heavy on stacking evidence because this is business to business. When it comes to business to consumer, we don't need as much of all of this here, but a key thing that we could put in is obviously some testimonials and some objection handling. Please watch these videos before you get on the call, right? And you could come up with your, like, what's the most common objections that people obviously have when working with you or before they obviously sign up. I need to speak to my partner. I don't know if I have the right budget. I don't think this is the right time. I'm not sure. You could cover all of these in a video here. So literally once that person's booked in their call, they get taken to this thank you page, and then from there they watch a video. And again, all we're doing in the video is just letting them know, look, be there 5 minutes early. That's when I'll be there. Have a pen and paper, like, or come prepared with any questions. If it's a call, make sure you're in a quiet place. Don't be rushing about in the living room or sitting in the car, like anything, all you're doing is just setting the expectations. Okay? And then stack some evidence with testimonials, and then just like objection handle. You can even have some FAQs as well if you really wanted to, and then we've just obviously got more results and more results and more results. Okay, lots of results, but that's just building that trust and that evidence. So that's how I would do it. Right now, we can also optionally send them a couple of email reminders. This is really good because it just gives that, like if they've booked a week in advance, they might forget to put that in their calendar. So just sending them these wee reminders could just obviously be the difference between this person turning up and not. And these are all on MRR systems. Your appointment is being confirmed to speak with. Please watch the videos. And all the videos are, this link here just takes you to this page here, like the thank you page, just in case I've not watched it. Courtesy reminder for our call, so they can get this. So this could be straight after they've booked, this could be a couple of days out, and this could be like the day of. Okay, it's just kind of letting people know and reminding them. Now, when we look at that, like nobody in your gym will have anything like this. Okay, they won't. This is how we build authority. Right, and again, if you want to start commanding a higher rate, it's a lot slicker and smoother and professional having something along the lines of this. Right, doesn't need to be exact system like this. You could just do the calendar into the thank you page, but just having something that allows people to see a bit of social proof. You can pre-qualify them, you get that understanding about them, and they also have already watched objection handling videos. Your close rate should be a lot higher. Now, let's look at standing out from the crowd. So this is different, right? And this is where, again, if we are charging a really, really premium rate, okay? Now, the more hoops people have to jump through, the less likely they are to obviously like commit. However, they tend to be better clients anyway. And this is why I'm saying about charging a premium rate, okay? Because if you are just charging £100 a month, right, and that's what people expect, and you're taking, like, wee Mary that, I don't know, she works at McDonald's and stuff like that, she's probably not going to have the concentration and the time to go through this, right? She won't really need to, she just wants somebody, she wants a rent-a-pal, right? She doesn't want an actual professional service. So this is, again, and I'll reiterate this so clearly, this is taking it a step above. So we've obviously got the main landing page, except this time, when they click on this button, it takes them to an application page. And now we're basically saying, look, it's almost like in a sense of, I'm fully booked, why should I take you on? Like, I really, really value my service, why should I take you on? So you can have them fill out this. And like this video here is just simply explaining like how we work, if you want to skip the queue, like, or how we work, and then just giving a wee bit of information about the service. That's it, right? 3 services we provide, okay? Obviously, Accelerator, Top Table, Elite. You can do that. Fill out your application form. Now, obviously, we're not expecting you to have multiple services, right? But you could still do a 60 to 2 minute video just explaining how you work. You can explain your TCM, right? Bit of social proof, boom, application, more social proof, right? And that's it. And then what you can do is take them to this here. So the next page here. Find out why I'm so passionate about helping you. And this is essentially like, this is you telling your story. Okay, like why you got into the position that you were in, right? How you are best fitted to help these people. So they've submitted their application. Why am I the right person for you? What we've done here, which can work really, really well, like you'll see, if you're like me and you're impatient, you probably want to just jump straight ahead and book in for a call, so you can do that. But in that page before, they've filled out their application, we're going to get in touch with them, okay? However, if they want, they can just go ahead, boom, book in a call here. And obviously once they've booked in a call, it takes them to this page again. And then we finish off with our email reminders. Boom, 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 boom. Alright? So that's the 2 ways that I would do it. You've got building authority and you've got standing out from the crowd. Okay. Now, if you're not charging a high rate, if your clients aren't high rollers and stuff like that, I wouldn't necessarily go with this. This is great for online trainers, right? Because there's obviously that bit of skepticism around it. Like, you need a lot of trust building. If you are just wanting to basically have a good process, follow-up process, like an actual pre-qualification process and just a bit of authority, then this is how we would do it. You've then got the reminders, which just allows people to go, alright, okay, I'm going to turn up for that session, and then that's you. Any questions, guys, please just tag us in the campfire. Okay, let's look at filling your diary and winning your postcode. Now, being a one-to-one in-person coach, there is so many ways that you can fill your diary. It is literally one of the easiest things to do if you just commit some time and effort to it. And I'm going to give you, like, I've got a whole host of ones here. I'm going to run through them all. And if you really cannot fill your PT diary from just doing like the absolute basics on this, then we need to have a serious chat. So the first one is great customer service. Now that comes hand in hand. Like anything that is client facing, especially if we're working in a one-to-one capacity, like our face-to-face capacity, like you need to have great customer service. The reason being, you want people to go away and talk about you and basically say how you're the best fucking thing that's ever happened in their life. Pretty straightforward. Friendliness on the gym floor as well. Like if you walk past people and you literally just smile and you're happy and people know your name and you talk to people, then like it's one of the easiest ways just to get like a conversation going with people. It's one of the easiest ways, is that introduction, and then from there just literally it's you get them in for the trial session, you get them in for a consultation, and boom, that's you. Making people feel better in that hour, again, this comes hand in hand with great customer service. Is if somebody comes in and they've had a shit day or they're not really looking forward to their gym session, whatever it is, see by the end of it, see if they feel fucking better, man. They are going to just rant and rave about you and talk about you to their pals or their partner, like whatever it is. And it's just simple wee things like that, and people pick up on this on the gym floor as well. Word of mouth, again, they all kind of tie in, right? But the better you are at your job, the more people are going to speak about you. It's really as simple as that. Classes, just taking really good classes, offering out actual sessions and trials and consultations and resources at the end of classes. If you're on shifts, I would be like jumping at the chance to take the busiest class, even if you hate it, right? Set yourself a target for 3 months to take the busiest class in the gym and just go all in on making sure that you like deliver the best class, you give people a lot of value, and then you also give them a bit of a call to action at the end of it. Hey guys, look, anybody that is interested in learning more of the techniques that we've done in this class, please just come speak to me at the end and I can just run you through it. I actually have 3 spaces for a quick half-hour trial session. It's no obligation, just grab me after the class and we can go from there. Or if you want to do like a bit of a colder sell, so that's quite a hard, like in your face, you want to do a wee bit of a colder one, all you need to do is just simply go, right guys, see at the start of this class, what I'm going to do is a wee bit of fun here. See the person that I feel works the hardest, they're going to get a free session with me sometime this week. And that's it, something as simple as that. Walking the gym floor, look, just being on the gym floor sometimes, I mean, without actual having good customer service and being friendly, yeah, right? But sometimes just walking on the gym floor and just being present and always having your uniform on. I've spoke a lot about gym uniform, or having like your branded clothing can just be enough for people to turn around and go, I want to approach that person, right? I wouldn't rely solely on just walking around and not talking to anybody, but if you couple this with the friendliness on the gym floor, genuinely getting to know people and learning more about them and developing that relationship with them, fantastic, easy way. Trial sessions are one of the easiest ways to convert people. Like, you just talk to them on the gym after the class, just offer them the trial session, go in the last video we spoke about the trial sessions, and literally just showcase how good a coach or a trainer you are. That is it. It's as simple as that. And if you are really, really, really good, people will buy into it and they'll feel stupid saying no. Conducting yourself and your sessions in a professional manner. Look, you might not realise this, right? You should realise this, but you might not, that when you're on the gym floor, when you're taking sessions, every single person is watching you because they want to know what's that client doing, right? So if you're sitting on your arse, if you're on your phone, if you're swinging about like on equipment and stuff like that, and just genuinely being like a bit of a diddy, then people aren't going to want to approach you. Right? Now, I'm not saying that you need to be like Mr. or Mrs. Serious and like, oh, everything's all like formal and stuff like that. Of course not. But you can have fun and relax and be serious all within a professional capacity. Social media content and telling people where you work. So just because you're walking the gym floor, just because you've got like 3, 4, 5,000 members, or you might be in a private gym where it might be like a smaller pool of numbers, like at your disposal, does not mean that you shouldn't be posting on social media, right? You should be showcasing your client results, you should be talking about your service, like showcasing people what it is that you do, showing them where you actually work, creating content based on educational, like things that your clients struggle with, delivering value. Like, this is something that a lot of coaches sleep on, is because they just think, oh, it's cool, I'll just rely on the gym floor. And don't get me wrong, like, I've filled my diary purely off the gym floor. Chris and Caitlin, purely off the gym floor. But now times are changing, and like I says, we've got all of these tactics to just go and fill your diary, so you'd be daft not to. Getting credible results speaks for itself. Word of mouth, professional service, getting credible results, people are obviously going to want to come to you because you are the person that gives them like that thing that they need. You have taken them from A to B, from B to C, from C to Z, whatever it is. There's no more to say about that. Collab with local businesses. Like, look around the area, go in. Can you leave flyers? Can you run competitions with them? Can you strike up a bit of a discount? Like, if, for instance, a beauty salon, like your clients will get, I don't know, 20% off a beauty treatment if they refer somebody on, like something like that. Just look at what local businesses are round about your area that you can obviously go and have some form of collaboration with them. And then last but not least is workplace talks. Look at your clients, look at, again, local businesses. Can we go into these actual businesses and deliver a talk? Half an hour on the lunch break, even say to them, look, why don't we on week 1, I come in and give you a talk, and in week 2, you come down to the gym, strike up a deal with your manager, we can get a free day pass or whatever it is, come down to the gym on your lunch break, and I'll take you all through like a group session, something like that. Really, really simple, low-hanging fruit. So that is what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different ways that you can fill your diary, right, to your personal training. And again, if you are not fully booked, then I would be looking at one of these things and going, right, what am I going to, or maybe even more than one of these things, what am I going to go all in on? And when we fill our diary, we get incredible results, we have that high expectation of what our clients know, we deliver that professional service, we've got a great word of mouth, everybody around us knows exactly who we are when we walk into the local coffee shop, like whatever it is, when we win our postcode, because that's what the ultimate goal is, you want to be the known person in that postcode, your G postcode, your ML postcode, your E postcode. If you're down south, I don't know what any of those postcodes are, but you get the gist. You want to be the person that in your area, you're the most well-known coach or PT, because once you can do that, you can then start expanding into your city, and then you can go bigger and further and start expanding into you're the best in the country. So there's how you fill your diary, there's how you win your postcode. Any questions, please feel free to ask.